Demons, magic, and death. What more could you want from a show like this? Hello once again, watchers of Good TV. My name is Nick Pell, and this is once again coming from my college dorm room. Now today, I'm going to be talking about Season 1, / possibly the series, of Constantine. This is a show which was on NBC for 13 episodes. It just concluded last Friday, and so I'm going to talk about it. A little bit late, but I'm a very busy person at the moment this semester, so that's fun. So Constantine is an adaptation of the DC comics. I don't know where this stands in continuity to like the Batman, Superman, Flash, Arrow type of stuff, but it's part of the DC comic universe to some degree, I think. So this is the adaptation of it. It's a much more dark type of show as well, which is why it's on Fridays, and I really enjoyed that part of it. So let's get into the nitty-gritty of it. Matt Ryan plays Constantine. He does a phenomenal job with this character. He brings a very sarcastic, witty sense of humor to the guy while also being very pessimistic and grounded into reality. Constantine, we meet him in an insane asylum because he's trying to escape all the demons and magic and stuff that he's been dealing with for a good chunk of his life. And then it just kind of comes back to him and he says screw it and goes back into the field. And we have our show. But you get to see him do like magic and dark art stuff, and he is an expert in his craft, and so it's really cool to see him just take down people or perform a really cool spell or something like that. Constantine is just a very interesting, cool character, and I really hope that we get to see more of Matt Ryan as this character. Charles Halford plays Chaz. He is a person who is immortal to some degree. He can only be killed a certain number of times, but there's a very large amount of times that he can be killed. So he is able to kind of take really big attacks or like sacrifice himself in order to save John or other members of the team. He's not in as many episodes, but he's kind of the more realistic person of the group in terms of kind of getting John kind of in the realms of what he can actually do and holding him back from things that are just stupid and nonsensical. Angelica Celia, she plays Zed, and she is a psychic. She can see visions of things when she touches things that individuals own or just making human contact with an individual. She has these powers and she doesn't understand them. Her family is evidently trying to find her and kidnap her, because that happens at one point. And so she has a very interesting backstory which isn't really explored that much in this season. And so if this show does get a second season, I really hope that they explore her background a little bit more, because she is an interesting character. One thing that did kind of bug me about the show is that both of these two sidekick characters are not always in the same episodes with each other. It's actually very, very non-frequent that they are together in an actual episode, and it just kind of throws off the team dynamic, because when that happens, neither of them really seem as important or necessary to winning the day or like establishing John's cause. The plot of the show kind of revolves around this rising darkness that's going to come onto the world, kind of like Sleepy Hollow in terms of Moloch and his evil hell stuff, but just to kind of a lesser extent, surprisingly. Harold Perrineau from Lost, he plays Manny, who's an angel, and he is consistently popping up here or there to help out John with various situations. And he becomes a more important character as the season progresses for reasons I won't talk about. There is an episode towards the end of the season where Manny loses his wings and he's forced into a human body, and so it's really interesting to see that interaction as he's kind of coming to grips with all the emotions and things that which make a human human. It's kind of interesting. One thing that I did like about the show is that it uses these dark supernatural elements really, really well. We see demons, we see magic, we see spells, incantations, just voodoo, a bunch of different things which kind of envelop this whole idea of the supernatural in regards to magic and dark arts and stuff like that. And so it's really cool seeing that acted out in a live action show, because I think that they do it really, really well and convincingly. The problem is the rising darkness, which is kind of this overwhelming threat which encompasses the show, and if there's the second season, it never really seemed like a huge threat. Like, it's built up to be something, but we don't really see any sort of physical embodiment of it. There are demons and possessed people and mean people that show up, but there's not like one stated bad, evil person who's causing all these things to happen. And it's just kind of like a case of the week type of thing. Oh, there's something happening here. Let's go investigate it, stop whatever's causing it, and then take off and look for the next thing. So it doesn't really seem like it's consistently continual, if that's a word. So it's just something which kind of lessened the threat of the Rise in Darkness, per se. One thing which did kind of kill the show, or at least make it seem like a completely different show from the very beginning, is both the trailer and the pilot, because the trailer focuses on the pilot episode, and it's kind of it is an introduction to Constantine's world and what the show is about, but it makes it seem as if the show is going to revolve around the daughter of his best friend and her introduction into this world, and then eventually her kind of finding her place among him and his crew. That's the pilot, and then she's never in the show again. I heard that there's like some contractual things, or she got another gig. So that just made the show seem completely off from the get-go, because we are introduced to this one character, and then we're never seen her again. So that was just something which really kind of bugged me. Another thing is that the episodes seem to be out of order. I'm pretty sure that they are, kind of like how Firefly was, but not quite to that extent. This, I don't think, was the show's fault per se. I think it's just how the episodes came out and were distributed. That's how I watched them, and that's the only perspective I have on it. So I understand why it happened, but it still kind of brought the show down a little bit, because not everything kind of made sense, or just like quick excuses were made for why certain characters just happened to be gone in these episodes. CGI effects in the show work really well as well, just kind of in regards to the demons and the magic and everything. It all looks about as realistic as you can get with a show like this. There's also some use of prosthetics as well, which work really nicely. And then just the general concept of the show is fascinating for me, because there is a huge backstory revolving John and his original squad of followers, and something which happened in the past revolving a young girl getting sent to hell because he messed up, and that's kind of what's floating in the back of his mind, and more or less his ultimate goal is to get this girl out of hell. But I mean, it's brought up every so often. It's kind of something which his friends hang over his head, but it's not seen as important of a threat as the show might have been able to make it. And then lastly, the finale. The season finale of the show did not really seem like a season finale of the show. It seemed like a regular episode to me as I was watching it. I was hoping there would be some sort of huge climactic get-together where, I don't know, a lot of people from the season come together to fight this huge threat which happens during this episode. Not really. It's just kind of a basic episode. Yes, there are characters which are brought back from throughout the season, which is like 2 people. Papa Midnight and then a sheriff guy from a couple episodes back. So maybe it's just because I've been watching shows which have really exciting things which happen every episode. So the big reveal, which I won't talk about, which happens at the end of this episode, it's like, oh, that's cool. This could have maybe been a mid-season finale, but it also could have just been another episode in the series, which just kind of picked up the speed of the season per se. So the fact that this is a season finale and they're just throwing this in there, if the show comes back, which I hope it does, because I enjoyed watching it, despite its faults, I did enjoy watching it week after week. I think that they need to start in September and then just maybe have more than 13 episodes. That might help a little bit. Or at least have some sort of better consistency in terms of the content of the show itself. So, yeah, I don't know. Those are my thoughts on Constantine's first season. I did enjoy watching it. I have said a lot of bad things about it, but I did enjoy watching it. I liked the show for what it was. It's a very cool, very unique show that is on TV right now, and it's something that I want to see more of. I just would like to see them fix the faults that they have right now. So, those are my thoughts. Leave yours down in the comments down below if you finished Season 1 of Constantine. Did you like it as much as I did? Did you hate it more than I did? Let me know. Like, share, comment, and subscribe once again if you so choose. I appreciate it immensely. And as always, my good people, my name is Nick Pell, and once again, keep on watching.